everyone, my name is Rachel. Welcome back to my channel, and welcome to our second vlog for Vlogmas 2025. You may notice that I kind of sound a little bit congested and my nose is red. I have been dealing with like a runny nose and like I'm a little stopped up today. It is what it is. I really hope it's allergies and that I am not getting a cold or anything like that, because we have a lot going on in the next few days. I very briefly talked about this in last week's vlog. I'm getting ready to go to New York City with my mom tomorrow. We fly out tomorrow. I'm gonna be there for about 5 days. And that is mainly because I am auditioning for Juilliard, the Juilliard school in New York. So I specifically applied to their artist diploma program in opera studies. You could think of this like a postgraduate program, internship type thing for opera singers. Basically, it's a very prestigious program. They only let like 5 singers in a year. And so last month I heard back that I was granted a live audition. So I have my initial audition this coming Saturday, and then after that first audition on Saturday, I will hopefully receive an email that night that I've been called back for day 2. Day 2 is another round of singing auditions, but it sounds like if you make it to day 2, you sing a lot more than you did on day 1. That's what it seems like to me. I also had to prep a monologue for this audition, so I'll either have to give that monologue on day 1 or if I make it to day 2. And then day 3, if I get a call back for round 3, that is like a very full day of lots of different things. I would have to do like 2 separate interviews with 2 different faculty members, participate in a class, I assume, with all of the other applicants that made it to day 3, as well as a coaching, putting us in a situation where we're like in a one-on-one coaching with one of their faculty members. So yeah, lots happening. I'm just hoping to get that call back so that I can make it all the way to day 3 and see what happens. I'm hoping to see a lot of shows with my mom while we're there. We already have tickets to see Death Becomes Her, which I'm so excited about. We're gonna see that show on our last night in New York. And then we're hoping to squeeze in a couple of other shows. So we will just see how this goes. I feel pretty ready. I feel prepared. I'm just hoping that whatever is going on with my nose right now is not a sign of sickness, because that's the last thing I want to be dealing with going into this audition. But I'm excited for these next few days. I'm definitely going to be filming a lot of B-roll clips for this vlog, so it's as if you guys are coming to New York with me and coming to my audition with me. So with that being said, I do have a reading update. I finished 2 books today, which is awesome. I feel like so far this month, I really have not finished that many books. I think, I want to say this is now like my 5th book I finished this month, so not too bad. Today is the 11th. I did finish this big old brick of a book, Queen of Air and Darkness by Cassandra Clare, book 3 in her Dark Artifices series. I talked about this book a lot in last week's vlog and how much I was loving this reread, and I am here to report and happy to report that I am upping my original rating to 5 stars. When I read this book for the first time, I want to say this was 2019, I gave this book 4 stars, but upon reread, I just had to up it to 5 stars. I think the combination of listening to the audiobook this time around and just reliving this story and being with this cast of characters, like I just fell head over heels in love with this story and with this third and final book and how this series ends. It's just so good. Also, I completely forgot about that epilogue. Like, if you know, you know, that epilogue was wild. And it's so crazy that this book came out in 2018 and then next year we are finally getting the first book of the next trilogy of this series, of the last trilogy of this series. I'm pretty sure Cassandra Clare announced that this next trilogy is gonna be the finale of the Shadowhunter Chronicles, which is just wild. But now I am like feral for this next book in the series, given this epilogue. Like, oh my God. It's just crazy that we've had to wait so many years for the continuation of this timeline of the story. Wow. But yeah, this was amazing. Love, love, love the Shadowhunter Chronicles so much. Can't wait to dive on into the Last Hours trilogy. If you haven't been following me for a while, I have been rereading all of these Shadowhunter books over the past couple of years. I had read Chain of Gold, which is the first book in the Last Hours trilogy, which is the most recent series that she came out with in this world, in this universe. But I never continued on to Train of Iron and Chain of Thorns. So I'm very excited to read those books for the first time. Then, just a little while ago, I finished The Winter Bride by Anne Gracie. If you watched last week's vlog, you will know that I was loving this book and I gave it 5 stars. Really, really loved this second book in the Chance Sisters series. This is a historical romance series that essentially centers around this found family. We have Abby and Jane, who are sisters, and then Damaris and Daisy, who are kind of like their adopted sisters. And then Lady Beatrice, this older woman of nobility that has taken all 4 of these girls in as her own. And she's even told people of society that these 4 girls are her nieces. So she's completely taken them in as her own family. And so yeah, each of these books follows each of the sisters' romances. And so this one was about Damaris, one of the adopted sisters, and then Freddie, who is the best friend of Max, who was the hero in book 1, The Autumn Bride. And yeah, this was just really great. It is a fake engagement story. We have Freddie, who is a rake in every sense of that word, and then Damaris is very guarded, and for very good reason. And just seeing these two fall for each other and seeing these two fight for each other throughout this book was just beautiful to see. And this series is just such a delight. I love the banter. I love Anne Gracie's writing style, the characters. Like, it's so, so, so good. So very excited to continue on with this series at some point. I don't know if I'm gonna continue anytime soon, but definitely looking forward to the other 2 books. Actually, there's 2 books and then Christmas novella in this series. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this update. I need to go practice my singing some more. Tomorrow is gonna be a very, very long day of travel, and yeah, this weekend is gonna be crazy. And I need to go pack. That's what I need to do. I have made my packing list, but I have not actually packed anything yet. And it is almost 6 p.m. So yeah, I need to get going on all of that. And then I have to leave for the airport at 9 a.m. tomorrow. So yeah, but I'm excited to take you guys along with me to New York. Hello everyone. It is, I was just about to say it's Wednesday, my dudes, but it is not. It is Thursday, my dudes. How's everybody doing? It has been a week since I last did a sit down update for this vlog. Wow. And I sound like shit, but I don't necessarily feel like shit. I feel okay. I'm dealing with some chest congestion. Like I said in my last update, I definitely was coming down with something before leaving for New York, and so I don't know, I think I had a cold or something similar to it, and it was just working its way through my system throughout that whole trip basically, and now I am left with some chest congestion, so I'm drinking Robitussin around the clock basically to get rid of this. But so yeah, that's why I might sound like poop, but I promise I feel okay. I have Happy Mail. I have 2 packages from Amazon. I know I didn't order anything. And then I got a Christmas card. Let me see who it's from. Oh, it says ho ho ho. Little Santa. Oh, this is from my brother, my sister-in-law, and then they included a picture of my niece Charlotte. She's the cutest baby around. And then I have 2 Amazon packages here. I opened them, but I do not know what's inside. Okay, that's a receipt. I don't think there's a note in this one. Dang it. Oh, that sucks. But I got Homestead by Claire Kent. Oh my God. Thank you so much to whoever sent this to me. I'm gonna have to put a post on Instagram, and hopefully the person who sent this will see that post and send me a message, because I definitely want to be able to thank you. This is book, I believe, 7 in Claire Kent's Kindled series, which is a post-apocalyptic romance series. This is actually the next book in the series that I have to read. I have 2 books left of this series, and I do not want this series to be over. I know that there is now like a 2nd gen series that Claire Kent is coming out with, but like, ugh, this series is just so freaking good and oddly like cozy and just like the perfect series to read around this time of year. This one's kind of like a marriage of convenience, and I'm putting that in quotes because in this world, like, there isn't really like government or anything, so there are no like legal marriages, but I'm excited nonetheless. And then I have the 2nd package here. Hopefully there's a note with this one. Amazon, you are the worst for not including a note in that other one. Oh, this one has a note. Happy birthday, love you so much, sweet friend, from Avery. Avery, I love you so much. She is truly like one of the sweetest people to have ever existed on this planet. She sent me Citadel by Claire Kent. So this is one of the books of the series. I think this is the only other book in the series that I didn't have a physical copy of. So thank you so much, Avery. I think this is book 5. So good. I did read books 5 and 6 earlier this year, and they were both amazing. So good. So thank you so much, Avery. So what do we want to do first? Let's talk about New York, and then I can give a reading update, because I have read some really good books since I last talked to you guys, and then I'm in the middle of another book. So New York was all in all a good time. It was a good trip. Like I said, I was sick for most of it, so like that really sucks, but it is what it is. And yeah, I'll just give you like a play-by-play of the trip really quickly, because I don't want to spend too much time talking about this. But the first full day that we were there was December 13th, Saturday. I had my Juilliard audition for their Artist Diploma in Opera Studies program, how they do their auditions. I think I talked about this in my last update. They have 3 rounds of auditions. And so if you make it to the next round, you're given what is known as a callback. I was not given a callback, unfortunately, after round 1. Didn't make it to rounds 2 or 3, unfortunately. And honestly, it's okay. It really is okay. Obviously, it's only human to be at least a bit disappointed by any rejection, but I have come to realize that this probably just wasn't meant to be, you know? I was not meant to do this program, and I honestly am now thinking like that maybe an artist diploma in general is not the way to go for me personally. Not every program is for everyone or every singer. I'm a little disappointed, but like, I promise I'm good. So, yeah, so then December 14th was my birthday. I am officially 33, which is apparently a very lucky number. And we spent the whole day basically just in the hotel room chilling because I was still sick, and we didn't really have anything to do that day. Like, we didn't have a show to go to. I didn't have tickets booked for the 14th. So yeah, we just like hung out in the hotel room all day, and you know what? It was pretty great because I was reading some really great books and just having a good old time. And I realized over this trip that it's been like quite a few years since I haven't had any obligations on my birthday. Usually I have to like work on my birthday, or I have a gig or something. And so it was really nice to have the full day off for my birthday, you know? 15th, the next day, oh, we went to see the Radio City Christmas Spectacular at Radio City Music Hall, starring the world famous Rockettes. And this year is really special because the Rockettes are celebrating 100 years. It's not 100 years of the Christmas Spectacular, but it's 100 years of the Rockettes as a group of dancers, basically. And so at the beginning of the Christmas Spectacular, they showed us like a 5-minute movie all about the Rockettes' history, which was so cool. I love that they did that. I love that they commemorated the 100 years, you know, the centennial, in a really special way. And the show was just as amazing as the first 2 times that I saw it. Funnily enough, my mom and I were in New York in 2015, so we saw the 90th season of the Rockettes. And then I saw the Christmas Spectacular 2 years ago in 2023, and then this is now my 3rd time seeing it. And it's just such a good show. If you are in New York, whether you have a family with kids, or you just go by yourself, or with one other person, I promise you're gonna enjoy it. It's a fantastic show. The Rockettes are truly at the top of their game. And it's like a 90-minute show. You know, it won't take up too much of your time in New York, and it's truly worth it. And you can usually get pretty good seats at a pretty good price. So loved that. Then on Tuesday the 16th, my mom and I had tickets to see Death Becomes Her on Broadway at the Lunt-Fontanne Theater. And we lucked out, and we had the entire original cast. And I was so excited when I read my program and I saw this slip of paper and it had the entire original cast on it. No understudies, no swings, nothing like that. Not that there's anything wrong with seeing a show with an understudy in a lead role or something. I've done that many times before, and the understudies are just as talented as the original cast usually, but it was just so special seeing this original cast. This show stars Michelle Williams from Destiny's Child, Megan Hilty, Jennifer Simard, Christopher Sieber. The entire cast was absolutely incredible. Fun fact is that someone I went to high school with is in the ensemble of this show, and so I was just like fangirling watching her on that stage with this phenomenal cast. And oh my god, like, if you are in New York, if you are going to be in New York anytime soon, like, this to me is a must-see. Truly one of the best shows I think I've ever seen on Broadway. And I have seen lots of shows because I have been to New York, what, like 5 or 6 times since I was 16 years old. So you can do the math. We usually end up seeing like at least 5 shows when we go to New York. So this was kind of unusual. We only saw 2 and only saw 1 Broadway show. But yeah, I feel like this really elevated what the movie did. As much as I enjoy the movie, the musical is so much better in my opinion. I love the score, love the songs. There's like crazy special effects. There's stunt doubles. It's insane. It's hilarious. It's clever, iconic, so good. So you have to see this, but if you can't make it to New York, you have to go see it when it goes on tour, because that's how incredible this was. Definitely the highlight of our trip. So with that being said, let's get to a reading update. So I read 2 books during my trip, which is pretty good because usually on trips I don't get a lot of reading done because we're usually doing a lot, but this was a lot more of like a low-key trip, which is honestly fine by me. It was really, really cold when we were there. It did snow on my birthday, which was fun, but yeah, it was really, really cold. It was like in the lower 20s pretty much the whole time we were there. So yeah. So the first book I read was Behold Her by Emily Antoinette. This is book 1 in her Moonveil series. I read the prequel novella of this series at the very end of October, I think. Yeah, and I loved that novella. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. One of the best paranormal romances I've ever read. Oh, so good. It's gonna be one of my favorite reads of the year. So, so, so good. And so the prequel novella is about the parents of some of the characters that are featured in the main series. The prequel novella is called Man-Eater, by the way, and it is about our heroine who's a succubus and the hero is a witch, and it's amazing. So this book is about Max, who is the son of the characters from Man-Eater, and then Mona. And Max he's part succubus, part witch. And this has like a stalker vibe to it that was really fun and not creepy at all. I promise it wasn't creepy. And Max is a private investigator, so this is how he ends up seeing Mona in her apartment, because he's spying on the person below her in the same apartment building, and so he immediately becomes obsessed with her, and then they start crossing paths, and they start having the same really steamy dreams, and things go on from there. This was a good time. I gave it 4 stars, really enjoyed it. I do want to say this book made me cry like a little baby, because towards the beginning, Mona, our heroine, is talking a lot about how she's dealing with grief because her dog, I think the dog's name was Nugget, passed away like a few months before the book starts. And because of Max's abilities, he makes it so that Mona can see the ghost of her dog Nugget. So I was crying reading that scene because it was just so sweet and sad. But also my dog Chloe passed away back in January, so I am still dealing with grief with that. And she was the sweetest chicken nugget ever. She was a pit bull / boxer mix. And if you've been following me for a long time, you have seen her in many, many vlogs over the years. But yeah, so it just made me think of little Chloe, my little Chloe. So yeah, this was good. Gave it 4 stars. It was really, really steamy, a fun time, very kinky for sure, which is always fun. Then I read Kiss and Cry by Kira Andrews. This is basically my reaction to the whole heated rivalry fandom. If you know, you know. If you don't know, there is this hockey romance novel. It's a rivals to lovers, hate to love novel, and it was recently adapted into a TV series by a Canadian company. And so now the episodes are airing, I believe, on HBO, which is unfortunate because HBO is like the one streaming service I don't have, so I don't think I'll ever be able to watch it, but it is what it is. And so the romance fandom is like feral about the heated rivalry, both the books, because there's heated rivalry, and then Rachel Reed also wrote The Long Game, which is a sequel about the same couple. So yeah, the romance fandom is feral about the books and this TV show, this adaptation. And so I read both of those books years ago, like a couple years ago at this point. So I wanted to read something with similar vibes because of what's going on in the book space. So I decided to go with Kiss and Cry by Kira Andrews. This is a book that I've been meaning to read for years, and I'm so glad that I finally did because I loved it. I gave it 5 stars. It was so, so good. This is about Henry and Theo. They are rival figure skaters. They are both training for the Olympic Games, and they have kind of been neck and neck in their figure skating careers. It's kind of a toss-up who wins any given competition, basically. But Henry, one of our heroes, like, hates Theo's guts. Theo is like the golden boy of the figure skating world. He is extroverted. He is, you know, everything that Henry isn't, basically. Henry is very introverted. He's very quiet. But we see throughout the novel that he's also very, very sweet and loving. And so this is one of those enemies to lovers stories where one character hates the other character and the other character is just entertained by it, basically, because Theo is one of those people that, like, seemingly nothing gets under his skin. He's just here for a good time, not a long time, right? Whereas Henry takes figure skating very, very seriously. And so he resents Theo, basically. And so the two of them start training together and they start spending more time together. It's a little bit of like a forced proximity vibe. And this was just so, so, so good because, like I said, Henry ends up being just like the sweetest man ever. Some of the things he says to Theo, like, gave me butterflies. Very, very sweet. And then Theo is just like the perfect kind of opposite of Henry, and he kind of gets him out of his shell a little bit. And the way that these two fall for each other was everything. It was just so addictive to read. It's like a 7-hour audiobook. You will fly through it. I found the audiobook on Hoopla, by the way. I found the audiobook for Behold Her on Hoopla as well. And that audiobook includes Man-Eater, which is that prequel novella I was talking about, by the way. So definitely recommend checking those out. This was great. I really want to read Cold War, which is another rival figure skater hate to love romance that Kira Andrews wrote. And it takes place in this same figure skating world because we do see the couple that's featured in that book, in this book. So I believe she wrote Cold War first and then she wrote this one. So now I'm basically on a queer romance kick, which is always fun. I feel like I have been reading way too many straight romances lately. So we got to give the queer romances some love too. So then I'm currently reading Devil in Disguise by Lisa Kleypas, book 7 in her Ravenel series. I am reading this for the very first time. I read Chasing Cassandra, which is the book that comes before this one, last month for the first time, and I devoured that book. That book is so freaking good, and I am so excited to be reading this book for the first time. I'm already loving it. It's already a 5-star read. I am obsessed. This is about Keir, who is from Scotland. This is a historical romance, if you can't tell. He runs a whiskey distillery in Scotland, and he meets Lady Merritt Sterling, who is the daughter of Lillian and Lord Westcliff from It Happened One Autumn. So they are from the Wallflower series. And basically you can think of the Ravenels as like a 2nd gen Wallflower series, because a lot of the characters that are featured are children of the characters from the Wallflower series. But so Merritt is a widow. Her husband passed away not too long ago. She is now running his shipping company. And so Keir and Merritt meet and they have instant chemistry. Like the chemistry, the tension, the banter between these two. It's just so addictive to read about. And it's just so fun reading a new Lisa Kleypas book. A new Lisa Kleypas book to me, that is. Unfortunately, Lisa Kleypas stopped publishing after she published this book, basically. And this was all the way back in 2021, so that's kind of sad. But I'm loving this. And this is turning into kind of romantic suspense. Because where I left off, I'm like 35% in. I'm on chapter 11. That's page 121. It seems like somebody's trying to kill Keir. So the plot thickens. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this very, very long ass update. I have been filming for like over 20 minutes. I'm gonna have to edit this down. I need to, I think I'm gonna DoorDash some food. some lunch. And then I'm gonna jump back into this. I might start either Cold War or like a queer historical romance, because I'm definitely in the mood for that as well. So yeah, I will update you guys later. What is up, my dudes? It is Saturday, the 20th. I have read 2 things since I last spoke with you guys, 2 historical romances. So we can just jump right on into the update, because there is nothing going on in my life right now, except that I'm wearing my fun Buc-ee's Christmas sweater. That's the only event to talk about. So first I read a historical romance novella called Snowflakes and Wallflowers by Lauren Smith. So I was recommended this by B from Mama Needs to Read Romance. I was recently looking up Christmas historical romance novellas, and this one came up, and I saw that B gave this like a 6-star review and absolutely loved it. So I wanted to read this ASAP. And then I finished Devil in Disguise by Lisa Kleypas. So we'll talk about this in a little bit. But this novella, so the premise of this both drew me in and made me nervous, not gonna lie, because this one is about Arthur, our hero. He is an earl. He just recently became an earl because his uncle recently passed away. And his uncle had given this cottage that's on the edge of his estate to our heroine Matilda and her aunt to live in, like rent-free. You know, he didn't give her a deed or anything, but he was just like, feel free to live here as long as you want, basically. But now that he's passed away, that deal is kind of like null and void. And so Arthur sends a letter to Matilda and her aunt and is basically like, hey, you have like 5 days to vacate or pay me some rent. Okay, thanks, bye. And so Matilda's like, we can't afford rent. We're really poor and destitute and can barely afford to live, like barely afford food and all of that. And so she shows up to his estate and, you know, is understandably so very upset about this letter. And so he then decides to propose that she become his mistress for a couple weeks. And in return, he will let Matilda and her aunt stay in the cottage for a few months while he makes some renovations to it. And so, yeah, that premise both drew me in and made me nervous because, you know, that gives the hero all of the power in this situation. And at the beginning of this novella, he is definitely kind of an asshole towards Matilda. But once they start their relationship, once she becomes his mistress, he really does become very sweet and generous towards her. And she finds that she also enjoys being his mistress. And so things go on from there. This is a very short novella. The audiobook was like 3 hours. You can find it on Hoopla, by the way, if you have Hoopla. And yeah, I really liked how this played out. It really was perfect for a novella. I didn't really need this story to be any longer than it is. And I just really enjoyed seeing Arthur fall for Matilda and her in turn fall for him. And of course there's angst because Matilda thinks they can never actually be together because she's not of his class and she's just his mistress. And he really falls head over heels for her. So yeah, this was really great. I gave it like 4.5 stars. It wasn't quite a 5-star like new obsession for me, but I really did enjoy it. I'm really looking forward to reading more from this author because she's pretty prolific. She's written quite a few historical romances and a few of them are on Hoopla. So that's really cool. Like the audiobooks are on Hoopla. And then I finished Devil in Disguise by Lisa Kleypas. And guys, this was kind of a disappointment. I gave this like 3.5 stars. The 0.5 mainly comes from the fact that I was obsessed with the first like 35% of this. I think I talked about the first chunk of this book in my last update, and I was really loving the connection between Kier and Merritt, and loving that she's a widow, and you know, she never really thought she would find love again or marry someone again after losing her first husband. And I love that Kier is like this rugged Scottish man that has come into her life. And I loved how much like chemistry and tension they had in the first chunk. But as the book went along, to me, this became very insta-lovey, which can work for me, especially if I'm reading like a novella. That would make sense if there's insta-love, because there's only so many pages. But for this, I felt like the insta-love aspect just kind of took away a lot of like the tension and chemistry between these two for me. Like, I just wasn't feeling this romance nearly as much towards the end as I was towards the beginning. And then there is a plot in this book basically having to do with Kier's past and who his father is. I'm not going to spoil that, though I was spoiled for that a while back. And I just found that I didn't really care about that plot all that much, which is interesting because I love the character who ends up being Kier's father. And we do get to follow him and his family quite a bit throughout this book. And I love all of those characters, so like you would have thought that I would have been obsessed with that plot line, but I really wasn't. And also I have to say, I'm not a huge fan of the epilogue. I'm just gonna be real with you guys, because something that is talked about quite a bit throughout this book is that Merritt truly believes that she's barren, that she can't have children of her own, and then the epilogue just kind of throws that out the window. So like that was kind of annoying. I kind of hate when romances do that, like just kind of throw something like that out the window at the end. So yeah, this ended up being kind of just okay, which really sucks because this is the end of the Ravenel series, at least what we have so far, and I don't think Lisa Kleypas is like ever planning on publishing new historical romances. I think this is my least favorite book of the series, now that I'm thinking about it, because I gave this a 3.5 and everything else in the series I've given at least 4 stars and up. So dang, that stinks. It also stinks because I really liked Merritt and Kier's characters, but I just feel like the second half of this didn't deliver what I wanted, you know? So yeah. Moving on though, I do have this stack of books here of things that I would like to read or start really soon. This is a really short manga series. It's called The Savior's Book Cafe Story in Another World. This is a story of only 5 volumes, and I read the first 2 volumes like 2 years ago at this point, and I just never continued on, even though I own all 5 volumes. And this is just a really cute fantasy story that centers around our main character, Sukina. She lives in our world, but she finds herself put into this fantasy world, and she is known as like a savior. But meanwhile, all she wants to do is use her magical powers to create a cozy little book cafe. And then pictured here is her love interest, and their romance is just so sweet and adorable. And this is just like the perfect cozy fantasy. I think I'm gonna pick up this series again really soon, and because it's manga, I'm gonna fly through each volume of this. I really wanna reread Six Scorched Roses by Carissa Broadbent. I read this for the first time earlier this year, and I remember absolutely loving it and like raving about how it's like the best novella I've ever read, but I feel like I have forgotten my love of this novella. So I feel like this just needs a reread to solidify its spot in my like top 10 books of 2025. So I'm really excited to reread this. This one's about Lilith. She's a human. She strikes a bargain with a vampire named Vale. This takes place in her Crowns of Nyaxia series. I have read Serpent and the Wings of Night, and I have not continued on to, what is it, Ashes something. I can't remember the title of book 2, but I keep putting off continuing on with the series. So I need to reread this novella, and then I need to jump into that one. Also, I am really excited about Good Spirits by B.K. Borison. My loan for the audiobook recently came in on my Libby app. And this is like a Ghost of Christmas Past romance. The hero is the Ghost of Christmas Past, and the heroine is very confused as to why this dude is haunting her. And I've heard nothing but amazing things, and I'm obsessed with this cover. I don't know if you'll be able to see, but the snowflakes have like glitter on them, and that's beautiful. And then I have Ghosts of the Shadow Market. This is a bind-up of novellas by Cassandra Clare, Sarah Rees Brennan, Maureen Johnson, Kelly Link, and Robin Wasserman. So this is a bind-up of like, I think like 8 novellas or so that take place in the Shadowhunters world. You guys know from last week's vlog that I'm just vibing with these Shadowhunter rereads. So this would be a reread for me. And then I'll be able to jump into Chain of Gold, which would also be a reread for me. But then Chain of Iron and Chain of Thorns are brand new books for me, and I'm very, very excited about that. That is her Last Hours trilogy, which is basically a follow-up to her Infernal Devices trilogy in this world. And I think Brother Zachariah is a main character of these novellas from what I remember, which is just gonna make me feel really emotional. So there's that. So that's gonna be it for this update. I am gonna go read. I'm probably gonna take a nap. And then I have a show to go see tonight, which is really exciting. So I'll talk to you guys later. All right, what is up, my dudes? It is Sunday. I think I did an update yesterday, right? Like the days are all blending together, but I wanted to just go ahead and wrap up this vlog so that I can go ahead and edit it and upload it ASAP and get started on next week's vlog, the Christmas week vlog. Very excited for this upcoming week, mainly because I have like nothing going on, and that is amazing. That means that I will be getting a lot of reading done. So yesterday, we'll just dive right on into a reading update because I don't really have much more to say or much else to say. I read the entirety of Cold War by Kira Andrews yesterday because I just can't get enough of enemies to lovers, rivals to lovers, figure skating shenanigans like we were getting in Kiss and Cry, which I read earlier this week and absolutely loved. So Kira Andrews wrote this book actually before Kiss and Cry, but these two characters were briefly mentioned in Kiss and Cry. So this is about rival figure skaters, but they are actually pair skaters, whereas the two main characters in Kiss and Cry were solo skaters. And so this is about Mikhail, who is a Russian skater, so he is a part of a Russian pairs figure skating team, and then Dev, who is American, so he is a part of an American pairs figure skating team. So where this novel starts is at a competition that's leading up to the Olympics, and Mikhail and Dev end up having an argument in the locker room after a competition, basically because Dev has always felt that Mikhail and his partner are like the favorites of pair skating, and they kind of get preferential treatment from the judges. He just doesn't think it's fair. And Mikhail basically fires back at him, and he's like, you know nothing about me or my life. Drop it, basically. And so they basically end up having hate sex from this argument. But they both kind of feel it was just like temporary insanity. It'll never happen again. But of course, the next time they see each other, they just can't help but start an affair. And so what ensues is this forbidden secret relationship. They both know that it wouldn't look good for either of them to be in a public relationship with another man. And Mikhail in particular is dealing with a lot of things, from like the Russian government basically putting pressure on him to keep winning. And Dev kind of has his own things going on of, you know, in terms of why he wants to keep this relationship a secret. And this was really great. I gave it 4 stars. I didn't love it quite as much as Kiss and Cry, but I did really enjoy it for what it was. I flew through this audiobook. It's like a 7-hour audiobook. I found it on Hoopla, by the way, in case you're interested. A lot of Kira Andrews audiobooks are on Hoopla if you have that app. And this kind of gave me exactly what I wanted from a rivals to lovers figure skating romance. Queer figure skating romance. And I definitely look forward to reading more from Kira Andrews. There's another figure skating romance that she wrote called The Next Competitor that I might pick up soon, because I am very much in this vibe right now. And then today I have started 2 books. The first book that I want to talk about is Good Spirits by B.K. Borison. And so I started this today. I am on page 73. That's chapter 7. That is just about 20% through the audiobook. And I'm really, really enjoying this so far. This is like the perfect, really, really, really cozy Christmas romance, though there's no romance yet where I am in the book, but it's really, really cozy, got all the Christmas vibes going on. Yeah, I'm just vibing right now, and I really like the audiobook narrators. So this is kind of a Christmas Carol inspired romance where we have Nolan, our hero here. He is a ghost of Christmas past. And then we have Harriet, our heroine, who is a normal human, just living her life. This book starts on December 1st, and Nolan just randomly shows up in her house, and he tells her that she needs to change her ways, that there is a reason that he has been sent to her to show her different events from her past, which will then inform her about her present and her future, just like in A Christmas Carol. So once their time together is done, he will hand her over to a ghost of Christmas present, and then he'll just move on to his next job, basically. And Harriet has absolutely no idea why she would need a ghost of Christmas past to come to her, because she's not a horrible person. She has no idea, you know, what she needs to change about her ways. And we're seeing as the book is going along that Nolan is also confused about why he has been sent to her. So yeah, I'm just really enjoying this so far. Really, really cozy vibe, like I said. And I'm just really looking forward to seeing how this story develops and how these 2 characters fall for each other, and if a romance is going to be possible, given that he is a ghost of Christmas past. And then I started my reread of 6 Scorched Roses by Carissa Broadbent. This is a Crowns of Nyaxia novella. This is pretty much a completely separate story from what is going on in Serpent and the Wings of Night. But I read this earlier this year, and I remember really loving it, but I just wanted to reread it before the end of the year. So this one is about Lilith. She is a scientist, and she is trying to develop a cure for this illness that has ravaged her whole town. And so she decides to seek out Vale, who is a vampire. He's like hundreds of years old, and he lives in this Gothic style mansion. And so she decides to go to him to ask him for some of his blood, so that hopefully she can develop a cure for this illness with his blood. And so I'm not very far into this at all. I'm on chapter 5, page 30. I think I'm like 15% of the way through this, and the audiobook is like 4.5 hours. So yeah, I think I'll be able to finish this one tonight, though we'll see, because I still need to, you know, completely edit and upload this vlog, so we'll see how long that takes. But I'll definitely fly through this audiobook. So yeah, really enjoying both of these books so far. All right, guys, that's gonna be it for this reading vlog. I hope that you guys enjoyed coming to New York with me and all of my reading updates. I read some really pretty good books this week. A couple disappointments here and there, but overall I read some really great books for sure. And I'm looking forward to filming the next vlog for Vlogmas. So I would love it if you would leave a comment down below if you want to discuss any of the books that I brought up in this video, or if you want to give me recommendations, anything like that. I would also love it if you would leave a like and subscribe, and I thank you so much in advance if you do. And with all of that being said, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!